Today I show you how I start with a new horse I just got in. This is a 7-year-old French trotter. His name is Isaiah Favardy. He came yesterday, he had a good night's sleep, and he nicely settled in. So today is the very first day I take him into my small arena. He will have to get used to this smaller space, because in the stable he used to be before in Malta he had a much bigger arena. So here he will have to learn to go on smaller circles. So you see here when he stops and poop already where the issue is with the trotters. They are made for pulling a cart, and they are leaning forward and they're pushing the shoulders forward, ready to pull the sulky. And this is not exactly the shape we want to have a riding horse in. When you look at the front feet when they're standing, we want the front feet vertically under the mass, not pushed back under the belly. So he picked up a trot by himself, and I just let him go. So I'm happy when he finds his rhythm. He has a look around, he's shaking his head a little bit. That is one of the reasons why he's actually with me right now, because he seems to have quite a severe head shaking problem when ridden. I assume there's something going on in his mouth, so that he has some issues in his mouth. Even though the dentist was there some 3 months ago, I think there's still something not quite okay. So I hooked the lunge into a cavason, not on the bit. So the mouth is sacred, so I don't want to interfere with the mouth at all. Therefore, I just hooked the lunge into the ring of the cavason, which is attached to his nose band. And now I just let them trot freshly forward. The reins are loosely hooked into the top rings of the lunging belt. So there's no interference with his mouth. I don't want to pull his head down into shape. For me, it's important that first of all, he is responding to my forward driving aid, which is the whip pointing to the butt. And I want him to find a position with his inside hind foot kind of diagonally moving under the belly, so that it would hit the point of gravity. If you are imagining there would be a saddle and a rider on that horse, and you would draw one straight line through the rider's body, falling down onto the ground, that would be the mutual point of gravity of horse and rider. And I want him to move his inside hind foot just underneath this point of gravity. So this trotters, they are made for pushing out. They have no difficulties to push out a straight leg backwards out, but they do have a problem to bend their big joints to bring the hip and the big joints of his hind end under the belly. And that's why we are lunging. We're lunging on circles. So I'm just looking on the inside hind foot for now, and I let him run how he wants. And you see the lunge is more or less hanging through. I do not get any contact because he's leaning into the curve. Yeah, when you look from the back, the entire horse is a bit tilted to the inside and leaning on the inside shoulder. That's not what we want, but he needs to figure out what I actually want from him. Here he picked up a canter by himself, and I encourage him to do it again. I'm happy when those trotters who were punished their lifetime for cantering or galloping in front of the sulky, when they pick up the canter by themselves. So I try not to interfere. I just ask him to do it again, and I praise him with my voice. Yes, well done, good boy. And if it's only for 2 or 3 strides, you can build on that. He just needs to get more comfortable just to pick up the canter and forget about this punishments he might have gotten in the past. So of course everything is a little bit all over the place, but hey, when he's doing 2 or 3 strides in canter, he will be able to do 5 tomorrow and 7 the next day, and at some point he will be able to canter the entire round. Rushing too much, I try to can't tie him again by making the silly hops myself. That looks maybe a little bit funny, but some horses, actually most horses, respond to it. When you do a little skip yourself, they figure out more easier what you actually want from them. So you gallop a little bit on the spot, horsey will follow. So, but that didn't work how I wished, so I just go back to a little bit a calmer trot. And you see the lunge is more or less hanging through. I let him run for a moment straight until there's one moment when he is pulling the lunge straight. And in those short moments, I can pull the nose slightly towards the inside. That are just moments for now, but again, you can build on them, and the horse will learn slowly but surely to turn his nose into the driving direction. And once he is doing that, once he is flexed and bent in the driving direction, he will shift the weight more and more away from the inside shoulder and get all over. He will get straighter and not so much tilted into the curve. Here, he didn't know what I want. He just stopped and thought, let's turn around. No, that was not what I am asking for. I go back into my normal position, which means I'm rather behind the horse, so my body is positioned somewhere on the height of his hip. And I ask him to go forward again. Now I'm on a smaller circle, so I have longer moments where I can actually take contact on the lunge and pull the nose slightly into the driving direction. Yeah, so first I ask him to find the hind foot position under the belly, because many trotters are very wide in the back. They would overtake their front feet at the outside on both sides. It looks really weird. Here, when we are riding, we want him to step under the belly, so between the front feet. So then when he is doing that, he really needs to bend all the big joints in his hind end, which is a completely new movement pattern for him. But once he figured out what I want from him, he will realize that it's actually much easier to run on a circle when he is looking in the direction I want him to, when he is not rushing, when he's in a calm mood. So it's moments when he's looking to the inside and he's falling back into his old pattern, but that doesn't really matter. Any young horse will, when you first start, look to the outside on the circle and lean into the curve. But with those trotters, it's a little bit more tricky. It's just an enhanced problem, I would say. All horses need to learn to look in the direction they're running to, not only the trotters, but with the trotters, it's more obvious. Yeah? They're looking to the outside, leaning in the curve, and start rushing with a straight back. So what I'm doing now is I try to look here. He was already stretching his head a little bit, even for a moment, only for a moment. He was his neck was falling out of the wither. He was extending his neck. And again, I'm not looking for a round shape. What I'm looking for is for a relaxed underneck. Yeah, I want him to relax his underneck. Then he will fall. The nose will fall towards the ground more or less by itself. It will simply follow gravity, because it's easier for him to just drop his neck and hang the entire construction into that neck band, which is fixed on his poll, running over his entire back and ending up at his tail. So I encourage him just to let go of all muscle tension and allow his ligaments to carry his weight. And for that reason, I need him to relax the underneck muscle. Here we had a good moment. And even though it's very unsteady, he has these good moments and you can build on them. Before I turn him around, I check once more the girth. He is a little bit fussy there, so he might have ulcers. So when you have problems girthing and they are nipping at you or swishing the tail like he does, it might be that he has some ulcers. Many, many race horses do have them, so we might have to check that one out as well. But I could tighten the girth a little bit. I sort out everything. I walk around the horse. I find my lunging position. I sort out my whip in the left hand, lunge in the right hand, and now I shake my lunge a little bit just to tell him, hey, go away from me. And the whip at the same time is pointing to his butt and tells him, and go forward. So lunging hand says, go away from me, with those swings of the lunge into his direction. So that means move your shoulders further away from me. So right rein, more difficult side for a trotter. So for their lifetime on the track they were running left rein. Now to run on a circle, right rein is a completely new thing for them. So most of them are very much uncoordinated. And you see how uncomfortable he actually is on this side. He starts rushing, and because he is out of balance. He tries to find a balance by rushing forward, but that doesn't work out on the circle. He needs to learn to reach out more with his right hind foot so that he finds a point of gravity. So again, I do not ask for more, but that he would go in a rhythmical 2-beat trot and try to find his way with his right hind foot, with the inside hind foot under the belly, which seems to be difficult for him. He would rather pick up a canter like he did now. Probably that was a little bit to escape that movement in the trot, right hind foot under the weight. It was easier for him to canter, but actually he might have done it to escape from the more difficult task. I still encourage him when that happens. When he picks up a canter on his own, I always encourage him. If it's only for 3 strides, like here, and with a little hop, any canter, I reward him. I release pressure and I praise him with my voice. Yeah, so for their lifetime, they were punished for picking up a gallop in front of the sulky. Now he has to learn that it's actually good to use a third gate. Here he was a little bit unsure. He stopped and stared at me. He was about to turn around. Doesn't matter. Just find your position, your lunging position. Keep your position somewhere on the head of the horse's hip and ask again. So my whip is asking for a little bit of forward drive. Lunge is shaking and telling him, here, please move your shoulders further away from me. As long as he is so much tilted to the outside, I will not gain any contact on the lunge. But I have those moments. I let him run for a straight line. And there are moments when I just stop my own forward drive. And there's a short moment where I can pull the nose a little bit to the inside. And he's running the next few meters straight. And I pull a little bit on the lunge to give an idea to look to the inside. And here I had a good moment where he figured out who I can extend my neck actually. So there's no check rein on top of my paw, which keeps my head up like at the races. I can drop my neck. And we always have to encourage those small moments when the horse figures out he can do something else with his neck than what he used to do for his entire racing career. So I move a little bit further up here. So I try to make use of the entire arena. First of all, to show him the new surrounding here. And he is a little bit distracted here because I think he realizes now that there behind the bushes on the right side, there are ostriches. So I think he didn't see them before. So now he's staring a little bit to the outside and he's a little bit confused what weird birds there are. So he stopped and stared, but no problem. Let him stop and look around. He's learning to trust his environment. So he's back into a walk, and I ask him to trot again. And I'm now on a smaller circle. And you see on the smaller circle, I have longer periods of time where I can actually ask him to pull the nose to the inside. On the big circle, it's rather short moments. Here I had almost a full round on the small circle where I could ask him to turn his nose slightly towards the inside. was a little bit too much. He tries to stop and turn around. No problem. I find my way, go on the other side of the horse. I use the lunge hand I shook the lunge towards his nose to tell him that the shoulder should be a little bit further away from me. And I point with my whip towards his butt to tell him, and please go forward. He still stares at the ostriches, but no problem. Just let him get accustomed to his new environment. They are weird looking. Who wants to blame him? Who is expecting ostriches on Malta? So, but he still keeps on going forward. He's not too excited. He's still listening to me. So when you see, even though he's distracted, when I am asking him to look a little bit to the inside for a short moment, he also moves his inside ear towards me. So he's still listening. So I don't mind when they are looking around and take in their environment, as long as they are at least with one ear focused on me. So he tries to turn around, and this time I think it was rather, the issue was rather that he felt a little bit insecure because of those big birds. So he tried to come closer to me to feel safer. And I just keep going like I did before. He tries again to turn around. This time I have to be a bit more clear with my lunging hand. Again, the lunge is not hooked to his mouth. I don't hurt him here. I just shake my lunge to give him a clue that he has to go further away from me and respect my space. I respect his. He has to respect my space. He's not supposed to come too close to me. So, and you see here, the clearer you are with your body language, the safer the horse feels. No? So yeah, we had a moment where he was actually dropping his neck, and that is always connected with a relaxation of the horse. They cannot distinguish between emotions and physical sensations. It is the same for them. When they are physically in a shape, in a position which is signaling relaxation, they also relax in mind, and they are happier. Even though I have to be strict here in between, telling him, go away from me, respect me. That is exactly what he needs to feel safe. And here he's dropping the neck. Yeah. So don't think when you are a little bit rough with your lunging hand that you might risk the horse would not trust you anymore. No, they need clear language to be able to trust. And you see here I had a good round where I had a good connection, and I could flex him a little bit to the inside, and hopefully I'm gonna get another nice moment when he's dropping the neck a little bit. Again, I'm not looking for a round neck, I'm looking for a relaxed under neck. Yeah. So I want him to go in a position with an extended neck, that he can use his neck as a balance pole, which allows him to rely on that neck band, which is fixed on his pole, running over his entire body, entire back to his tail, and he can actually hang his entire weight into that construction. When horses are grazing, they are more or less not using much or any muscle strength. They can rely on that ligament holding their body together. And I try to get him into this shape that signals him relaxation. A grazing horse is a relaxed horse, and it simply saves him energy, because he doesn't need to tension up his muscles so much when he can rely on his ligaments. He can carry his entire weight by dropping the neck, and that will also make it much easier for him to carry the rider's weight. So we are back in a walk. He's in a nice, calm walk. Again, you can see he is still used to pull something. It's like his shoulders are leaning a little bit forward, and it's still walking as if he has a weight in the back. But I hope that with more and more work, he will learn to carry his weight more with the hind feet than with the front feet, because they are by nature much stronger than the front feet. Yeah, and adding the rider's weight, the horse needs to learn to bend the big joints in the hind and to carry himself more on the hind, to lighten up the shoulders and not to rush. Yeah, only in that position they can relax and feel safe. So it's it for today. Um, if you like my content, give me a thumb up, like and subscribe. Until next time.